You know, the Jewish people finally know freedom because for too long we knew and experienced only hate, anti-Semitism, massacres, genocide, and deportation. We waited almost 2,000 years to become again a free people in our own land. My friend, I have to tell you that the restoration of the State of Israel, the restoration of the Jewish statehood after 2,000 years is no less than a miracle. Israel started as a doubt and wound up as a certainty. We Israelis live in a region surrounded by enemies. We are dealing with constant terror since the day we established. We had to fight 6 wars in 7 decades. 6 wars in 7 decades. Imagine that. We did not lose 1 war because Israel cannot afford to lose 1 war. My friends, with very little land, water, or resources, Israel grew 10-fold in population and 50-fold in gross domestic product. Israel high-tech and innovation enriches the world. In what looked like nothing but a wasteland, Israel built new villages, new cities, new universities, and created culture and art. In Israel, we built life. Life for the Jewish people, but not only for the Jewish people. And finally, from oppressed people, we became united, vibrant, and a strong society, a strong democracy. And you have to understand that freedom is at the heart of the Zionist ideal. One of the topics here today is the freedom of speech. And in fact, free speech and free media are the backbones of the Israeli society today. We pray and wish that one day the Middle East that surrounds us will be full of open and free societies and countries with free and vibrant civilizations and societies exactly like we are having in Israel. And this is exactly why I'm amazed, truly amazed, when I see the huge amount of attentions that the BDS movement and its like gets from around the world, and how they manage to actually fool so many people and hide the real and true intentions of the BDS movement. Because the BDS movement is not a movement of protests against Israel. The BDS movement appealed to young people with slogans about love, human rights, freedom. But the truth is that it's a very sophisticated way to hide its true intentions. And the true intentions of the BDS is the full destruction of the State of Israel and the delegitimization of its very right of Israel to exist. And I call you, my friend, I call on you, international community, to get a grip as soon as possible and to realize that there are global trends here, very dangerous global trends, religious radicalization, and movements like the BDS who demonstrate complete denial of the Jews' national rights. And this campaign is extended far beyond the debate of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict or even about the settlements. The BDS movements, my friend, do not seek dialogue. The BDS movement seeks to single out the only Jewish democratic state. It seeks an absolutist position bordering on fascism. Today they don't support two-state solution. I support two-state solution. The BDS don't support two-state solution. The BDS call my family colonialist. They claim that Jews have no rights and no history in Jerusalem. What a cruel joke. The BDS activists are far from being a freedom fighters or human rights activists, because the hypocrite BDS leaders and activists actually ignore daily all the terrible dictatorships in the world. They don't care about the dictatorship in the world or in the Arab world. They ignore thousands of Palestinians, massacres every day in Syria. They ignore hundreds of thousands of Syrians from their own religion, massacres every single day in Syria. Of course, the massacres in Syria is not the BDS problem. Israel is the BDS problem. The only problem in the Middle East of the world is Israel for the eyes of the hypocrite BDS leadership. The BDS movement ignore oppressive countries, they ignore tin pot autocrats, and instead they are obsessed with our only little democracy, the one and only Jewish democratic state in the world and the only democratic state in the Middle East. This is sickening. The BDS leader, Mr. Omar Barghouti, don't even try to hide its true intentions, because he's saying over and over again in every interview that it is the very dismantling of the Jewish state that he wants so much and desires so much, not anything else. My friends, the idea of such a boycott on Jews is not new to us. Gila mentioned it, but already in August 1922, August 5th, the Palestinian Arab Congress declared a boycott against local Jews and called all Arabs to not sell them any land and to boycott all Jewish businesses. And of course, since then, the boycott has been prolonged again and again in different forums in 1929, 31, 37, and even 1935, long before there were any Israeli state existed. Mr. Barghouti and his friends are just the followers, the messengers of those who boycotted Israel and Jews 100 years ago. The BDS activists saying that they are proponents of human rights and peace. This is ludicrous, because the founding members, some of the founding members of the BDS movement include some partners and personas that are closely associated with radical terrorist organizations such as Hamas. And as you know, Hamas is not a human rights organization. Hamas is a genocidal, homophobic, misogynistic, recognized terror organization sitting in the backyard of Israel, shooting thousands of missiles of innocent civilians every other summer. My friend, I am highly committed to the Israeli-Palestinian peace. I am leading the two-state solution caucus in the Knesset. I belong to a very big majority of Israelis who advocate for the two-state solutions between us and the Palestinians. But don't make any mistakes. The BDS movement that has doing this activity for so many years has nothing to do with peace. They have nothing to do with any effort to create two states, nothing. On the contrary, the BDS movement essentially views the very fact of Israel's creation as the root cause of the problem. The BDS claims that Israel has no interest in peace between us and the Palestinians. And you know, this is rebuttal, because when I meet BDS activists, I'm telling them that not like the Palestinians, Israel proved before that not only that we are willing to achieve peace, but we actually achieved peace with much bigger and bigger enemies than the Palestinians. We achieved peace with Jordan, we achieved peace with Egypt, which again was much bigger enemies than the Palestinians, and we achieved it paying price on territory, on natural resources. But it's them, the Palestinians and BDS activists, who never prove that they are capable of making peace with Israel. We proved before that we are capable of making peace with our enemy, and as a fact, most of the majority of Israelis wants two states and a full separation from the Palestinians. The question is how and in what price. And on these questions, how and in what price we will have peace with the Palestinians, the BDS movement are not even willing to negotiate. The BDS campaign had not been even remotely relented over the past decade. In fact, regardless any negotiation that we had with the Palestinians before, it has only further intensified. The BDS claims that Israel is an apartheid and racist state. What a joke. Actually, the truth is that Israel, as Minister Gamliel said, is the only true democratic state in the Middle East, where all inhabitants, all citizens, Jews, Muslims, Christians, Druze, Baha'i and other, enjoy full and equal right citizens of Israel of all religion enjoy freedom of practicing. They enjoy life. And you know what? It's not obvious to enjoy life in the Middle East. But in Israel, they enjoy life. Muslims, Christian, not like in any other country or state in the Middle East. So yes, thank you. So yes, I admit, Israel built a security fence that the BDS and their fellows call an apartheid wall. They have to understand that the only objective that this security fence have is to prevent terrorist incursions into Israeli territory, trying to kill innocent women, children, and men every day. And thanks to this security fence, as a fact, the number of attacks dropped by 30%, while the death toll fell in about 90%. My friends, Israel has the right and the duty to defend its citizens as every other state in the world and in Europe, and this is a fact that the BDS and our enemies have to understand. Ladies and gentlemen, we don't want BDS. We want dialogue. We want dialogue. Most of the Israelis are committed to peace. I am committed to peace. Being Jewish and being an Israeli shaped my never-ending desire for peace. Peace between us and our neighbors, peace that will replace fear, blood, and tears with respect, cooperation, and better future for our children. Peace is always Israel's first choice. Peace is always my first choice. And as many of you here know, Victor can tell you about it, I have a peace plan, a diplomatic outline of how to resolve the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. And I presented this peace plan in every corner I can in Israel, in every corner I can around the world. I presented a peace plan in leading universities around the world, like Harvard universities. I presented my peace plan in various parliaments around the world, including the British Parliament, including here at the EU Parliament with Victor. I even presented my peace plan in the Japanese Diet, in the Japanese Parliament in Tokyo. We have plans for peace. We have desire for peace. But even I who advocate so much to peace and committed so much to peace, even I, when I faced our enemies, may they be the BDS activists, may they be other Arab states representatives, may they be Palestinians, of course, when I face our enemies, I look to them in the eyes and I ask them, I want you to tell me, once and for all, do you want to live here in the Middle East next to us or instead of us? Tell me the truth. Do you want to live here next to us or instead of us? Now, if they're telling me that they want to live here next to me, I'm telling them that I have, as an Israeli, as a Jew, every obligation to make any effort to find the golden path for peace with the Palestinians like we did with Egypt and Jordan. But if they're telling me that they have a wish to live here instead of us, I'm telling them, you should know, it will never, ever happen. And I meet enemies. I'm from those who are meeting our enemies around the world. And I'm asking them this question again and again. And there is many enemies who is telling me that they want to live here next to me and they know my efforts to peace. But again and again, I will say to those who are telling me that they will wish and have some secret agenda to live here in the Middle East instead of Israel, I'm telling them, you better know Israel is here to stay, period. My friends, I will sum up by saying to you who I truly believe that you want to see us living in the Middle East next to each other and not instead of the other. I want you to know and to spread the rumor that the BDS activities are profoundly counterproductive and completely destructive both to Israeli-EU operation and relations and both to the Israeli-Palestinian peace. BDS activity is profoundly counterproductive to peace because, my friend, existing cooperation existing potential and prospective economic, cultural, political, military and scientific ties between the European Union and Israel, between the Palestinians and Israelis, are highly important to us, opposition and coalition. Involvement, dialogue and openness should be our message. Closer diplomatic ties, regular cultural, scientific exchange, promoting of free trade, shared values of freedom. This is the future. And we should create together exactly this kind of future, and we should do it against and despite the effort of the BDS and their partners. Ladies and gentlemen, I call you from here. Let's work together. Work together not to divest, not to close up, not to shut off one side on expense of the other. Let's work together to build bridges for peace, prosperity, and security for the people of the Middle East and for the people of Europe.